Beyond the Mic with Sean Dillon.
We're joined on the Starline by a man who's liked stuff and the story they tell for more than 25 years. The expert in decluttering and downsizing is off on his next adventure in Filthy Fortunes on the Discovery Channel. We welcome Matt Paxton.
Dude, thanks for having me.
Matt, let's go beyond the mic. You say, quote, if we find nothing, we make nothing, unquote. Yeah. What percentage of the places you've gone and seen have you found less than what you expected in value?
So about 20%. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen. I mean, the show is exciting, right? We get to go in and we find a lot of cool stuff and then we sell it for the families and we can make, hundreds of thousands of dollars. But if I'm wrong on my hunch, I can lose $20,000, $30,000. And so we can't really afford to have many losses, but it does happen. My job is to have the right team there to, I can look at a video or a picture or walk into a house. And I've been doing this 25 years. So I pretty much know, I'm already looking behind you right now, trying to price this out. Like, okay, let me see those, what are the football helmets? What are the cleats or the shoes are very interesting. I'm looking for things that I can sell. And that's what we do when we go into a house.
How do the people help or hurt you in your research?
We like it. We don't want the family to do anything. We just want to take a picture. Don't tell me the story that the minute someone says, oh, well, my grandfather brought that over on the Mayflower, we already know that that's BS, right? Because first of all, there's 200 years missing in that equation, and we just love to go and explore. And that's really what we do on the first day of any job. This is our real job. This is what we actually do in the real world as well. And so, we don't really want the family heavily involved the first day because the good stuff is not up front, right? The good stuff, if it was good, people already took it. The good stuff is in the back. And we can't get there till day 2 or day 3. And so that's when I need the family to help us. But when we walk into a house, I just look around real quick. I'm aging things. I'm trying to find, is this from the 70s, from the 60s? I might ask some questions about was your grandfather in the war? Because if he was, I know he was in Germany, right? And then, especially in Texas, they all went to Germany and Texas. And so I'm able to, or Italy. And so I can start to age things based upon where all these guys served in the war. What did they do? What kind of stuff am I seeing? It really is a treasure hunt, but it's a little bit of private investigation up front as well, because we just need to know that we're going to make our money back because we're fronting our cleaning costs. And sometimes that might be 20 grand. So I got to know, not only am I going to make the 20 grand back, but then what kind of profit am I going to make?
What do you want people to take away from Filthy Fortunes?
I want them to have fun. I want them to watch the show. I want them to see that, hey, the Beanie Babies are not worth anything, but man, the Barbies might be. And man, grandpa's old football jersey from Texas is really, or Texas Tech has some value, I just want to make sure families know that they do have items that have value, but not all the items have value. And most importantly, the stories are honestly the treasure. I want families to talk. I want families to start, oh man, your dad had this. This happened just the other day in a house. We were talking to a family and they were they started talking about Oppenheimer. The movie Oppenheimer came up. And then one of the mom goes, oh, that's where your grandparents met. And the kids are like, what? And they met working on the Manhattan Project. And then we actually had some stuff from Santa Fe in the house. And the question was, how did you get stuff from Santa Fe? Because we were in Chicago, right? And the stories, very quickly, the whole family found out their grandparents met working on an atomic bomb. What a story, And that's the stuff that comes out of these houses. And so we just want families to watch it, have fun, enjoy the gross stuff, enjoy the weird people that show up to buy it, and just have a really good time. And then say, hey, if it's time for me to clean up my house, let's start selling some stuff.
Matt Paxton from Filthy Fortunes on Discovery joins us beyond the mic, and it's time for the Rockin Aid. All this is, Matt, is 8 random questions. It's my way of decluttering you.
Love it.
Answer with the first thing that comes to your mind. There's no pressure.
Okay.
What's the biggest thing of value you have ever found?
Oh, gosh. We found $2 million in stock certificates.
Wow.
Uncirculated stock. It was literally $2.5 million cash immediately for the family.
Your first job at 14 was working at McDonald's. What's your typical McDonald's order today?
Oh, man, it would be 2 Big Macs, 2 large fries, and a small Coke.
Amazing.
The small Diet Coke was always the one we laughed at.
When you're on the road shooting, what's your guilty pleasure?
Ice cream, man. Every night I get a nice scoop of ice cream somewhere, local ice cream. I absolutely love it.
So what's your go-to flavor?
Mint chocolate chip is a solid for me, and an Oreo if they don't have mint chocolate chip.
Very cool. Longest run you've ever been on?
I've done a bunch of marathons. I've done 10 marathons. So 26.2.
Now, Matt, have you convinced your son not to marry a bottle of ketchup, or is he still courting one?
You did your research. I have 6 sons. I have 1 daughter. My youngest boy loves ketchup, and we just hope he doesn't marry ketchup. Otherwise, we're good. We don't care.
So did you keep that bottle of Shinola you found in a house, and do you know the difference now?
Man, you did your research. I did find a bottle of Shinola. I knew what it was. The rest of my crew did not. I took a picture of the bottle, and we sold it.
Where is the most underrated place in California?
Santa Cruz, hands down. Santa Cruz is amazing.
How about the one item in your house that would drive your friends to tears?
My best friend's guitar. I just cleaned out my best friend's house. He passed away at 50, and he was an insane guitarist, and his parents gave me the guitar, and I cry every time I see it.
Let's sneak in a couple more with Matt Paxton from Filthy Fortunes on Discovery Beyond the Mic. You've talked in your podcast, 5 Decisions Away, about the unfunny topic of animal hoarding. Yeah. What's another hoarding topic that makes you uncomfortable?
Well, the trauma, right? It's all caused by trauma. And when you really get to the root of it, it actually, the behavior makes total sense. And I think the problem with the uncomfortable conversation of hoarding is you have to have it, because once you really understand it, you find out that person is a really good, genuine, honest person that's just gone through some hard things.
Which episode of Filthy Fortunes made you the proudest at the end?
Man, it'll be New Orleans by far. Well, I'll tease it with this. Sometimes the biggest win is not financial. I'll say that. We met some really good families and some really good people this season. And I mean, we made hundreds of thousands of dollars for some families, and that's exciting. But sometimes you just get to help someone get their life back. And that's really cool too. Talk about your incredible team and how they made this adventure fun. I have known Mike and Kaylin and Chris for, 15 plus years. Kaylin used to sell me Slurpees at the local 7-Eleven down the street from me, and I hired him. And then he's been with me forever. And Mike is my best bud. I got to be honest. I met Mike. He was flipping Christmas sweaters. He would go around Goodwill. This is before Christmas sweaters were cool. He would go around Goodwill and pick up all the old vintage Christmas sweaters and then come to neighborhood parties and sell them for like $60. And it was a brilliant little business plan. And I met him. He was selling Christmas sweaters out of his van. And I was like, dude, you just met the one guy you needed to meet. And now he sells all of our vintage, all of our clothing, all of our vinyl. I mean, he's a guru. And I just happened to find him in a van selling Christmas sweaters.
Now, you've said, quote, when you find an item in your attic, remember it was a stepping stone. When you left it there, you needed it. Now you don't. You've grown, unquote. Who helped you grow, maturing to where you are today? Man,
all my clients. My dad, I lost my dad, my stepdad, both my grandfathers when I was 24. And so I was a super sad guy, especially that first 10 years. But I have to tell you, it gave me the career that I have. And my dad and grandpas would love that. They would think this is the coolest gig in the world. And so I'm really at 50 now. I've aged. And I was 24 when I started doing this, and now I'm 50. I had no kids when I started, and now I have 7. And so I have to say, I've really learned that theory of stepping stones. People and stuff are stepping stones to where you're supposed to be. And I don't mean that in a negative way. But every item you have is not meant to be kept. Sometimes it's just to get you to that next thing. My first car was an 84 Honda Accord, and I got all the way up to a really expensive BMW. And then it turned out I was like, oh, that's a waste of money. Now I got an 88 Jeep Wagoneer that I barely ever drive. The old Woody that floats down the road,
It's time for One Big Question with Matt Paxton from Filthy Fortunes on Discovery Beyond the Mic. You said, quote, it's amazing what you can accomplish with maturity, reflection, and support. I returned to a city that once owned me. Not this time. I worked hard for my sponsor, hung out with friends, and did not gamble. Didn't even think about it. People do get better. Stick with them, unquote. How did your darkest days prepare you for your greatest victories with the people that love you?
Man, I was a gambling addict, lost everything. It put me in a situation where I had to start cleaning houses and start cleaning the messiest stuff in the world. And it put me around people that were loving and supportive and caring. You talk about stepping stones. Your biggest failures are what set you up for success. If I had not owed a bookie 40 grand and gotten my butt kicked, I would not be having this interview today, getting ready to have my own show on Discovery on Sunday nights at 10. I get to help people because people helped me. I got the best job in the world.
Matt Paxton loves Santa Cruz, cherishes his best friend's guitar, and wants you to watch Filthy Fortunes on Discovery. Matt, thanks for taking the time to talk with us today.
Dude, thank you, man. Great interview. My God, awesome. Thank you, dude.
And that, my friends, is I'll be on the Mike Shortcut. If you're enjoying these conversations, please check out another Beyond the Mic episode to find more actors, artists, and people you need to know. We'd also appreciate a like and subscribe on the Good Pods app.